Ready.
Main Street.
All right.
Yes.
So I would like to call to order the Historic District Commission meeting for August 8th, 2022. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Frostburg's Historic District Commission implements the city's historic preservation overlay, Section 4 of the zoning ordinance adopted in 2014. This authority is granted by the Maryland Land Use Article Section 8 of the Annotated Code of Maryland adopted in 2012. This meeting is open to the public and conducted in compliance with the State of Maryland's Open Meetings Act. The Frostburg Historic District Commission is charged with the preservation of historic structures and the surroundings within the designated district in order to safeguard the heritage of the city, stabilize and improve property values, strengthen the local economy, and foster civic beauty. All right, we will do the roll call. Vice Chair Joseph Hoffman,
Present.
Bill Detterman,
Present.
Rob Rapan,
Present.
Maureen Brewer, here, and our alternate Daniel Fowler is not with us this evening. I am Chair Dawn High. So Commissioners, if you would please review the agenda for today, and when you are ready, if I can have a motion.
Maureen Brewer, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for today.
Bill Letterman, second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the agenda is approved. And again, if you would review the minutes from our previous meeting, July 11th, and when you are ready, we can have a motion.
So, Joe.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Okay, so that brings us to our first project presentation, the Depot Gateway Public Art. And we have Deirdre Robertson with FrostburgFirst here with us. You can come on up and sit with us. That's right.
So this project is something that we've been working towards for a while. The State Arts Council recently began doing public art across Maryland grants, both planning, excuse me, I'm dealing with allergies and things, both planning and implementation grants. And so this was for an implementation grant. And the idea was to identify an area in downtown Frostburg that needed some public art that would help to increase, resident enjoyment and also to provide sort of a gateway to visitors. And so Depot and that sort of walk up from the steps to our downtown is an ideal situation for that. The first item on that would be the old phone booth, I guess is what it was at one point, that's been just sort of painted, it's in black and red. The last time I was down there, it had like traffic cones stored in it and a truly impressive spider web. So it's not serving any purpose at this point, but it is right there next to where the steps go up from the depot and where, of course, gap trail hikers like to go as well. And I see that as a perfect opportunity to turn that into a visitor kiosk and also to repaint the outside of that so that we have some artwork that's representative of that area. So you can see in the image, excuse me. The idea here is to have everything themed around transportation. So it's going to display artwork such as like the conductor, the train tracks, somebody walking with their luggage, and then the exterior, the front, will have Frostburg information, and then be painted in the motif with black-eyed Susans. And then inside, we're going to be installing some container brochure holders, essentially, where we can put our brochures and other businesses. Yeah. rat cards, advertisements, things like that, to encourage people to explore the downtown. The second part of this project is to take that section of sidewalk from where you reach the top of the steps and walk up to the mural, where we're planning to do the mural, that wall there, and put a historic timeline and stencil on the sidewalk along there. And we have already received permission from the city and the county for this project, and also for the phone booth project, since it's always kind of mysterious as to who will put down there. But we've checked with everybody on that. So the idea here would be to take 10 to 12 major milestones in Frostburg history and use that as a way to encourage people to read about the history as they're walking up the hill, maybe give them a chance to take a breath and encourage them to keep going, because of course that is a bit of a hike once you get up to the top of the stairs. See that, oh yes, there is still one other hill.
There's
Yeah.
more.
So again, it's to encourage that. And then the final stage would be of that retaining wall next to the sort of demolished building side next to the Chauvin restaurant. So this would just be for that, the large section of the wall in that weird diagonal shape, and then there's a smaller section on the other side of the opening there. And it's definitely requires a little bit of work. You can see the images. We're going to do a little bit of wall prep there. We're not going to try to repair the entire wall, because that's beyond our feasibility for this project, but at least to clean it up, get a flat surface for the artist to work with, and hopefully use some protection for water damage in the future, cement primer. And then that gives you kind of an idea of what that's going to look like. So we did run a contest for this as part of our planning project. And this was the design that won with the motif of It's Just Cooler Here, and really focusing on arts, culture, and our outdoor recreation. And this could welcome people as they're coming across from the road, and of course, most visibly coming up from the depot. And so there have been some modifications to that original design, just because we're looking at the space and how much there really is to fill. And there was also an element that was encouraged by the State Arts Council of having to be interactive. So the idea was to have the Borden Tunnel painted on the larger sections that people could take selfies in front of it. And that would be kind of another additional input there. And there is also a plan to make this interactive as the mural is being painted. Once we get up to that smaller section with the Welcome to Frostburg, It's Just Cool Here section. Welcome to Frostburg.
Peter,
That would be painted.
question, what is the medium that will be used to do the sidewalk?
It'll be out on the sidewalks, can be outdoor as well. We're still looking at the different types to use, because it's a little different from the wall. It's just something that's going to hold up on the sidewalk. And it will be, the sidewalk itself will be permanently black, because that will hold up longer. And the idea there is just that we will get stencils, and that'll probably be Katie and me going out and spraying that. And that's something that can be refreshed on a regular basis without, significant expense as well.
So the timeline's on the sidewalk, is that correct?
And so that would lead up to the point where the mural starts, and the mural would sort of be the next stage. And then, of course, you're pretty much up to the
Where does the sidewalk part begin and end?
It will start at the top of the steps, and then it'll end right as you're hitting that. So sort of overlap at the bottom of the wall. And we did receive $20,000 from the State Arts Council to implement this project. So that does give us, also it includes funds in there for maintenance, and funds to deal with vandalism should it occur, and lighting or anything that we can do. Although I think it's fairly well lit along there, so once it's up, we'll see what it looks like. But we need to add some solar lights or something to help make that more visible.
And is it the same artist that did the thunder as the wall?
No, so the phone booth is going to be Chablis Miller, and she's a muralist. She's been very active around here actually pretty recently, and that's her design down there. She's done, if you've seen inside of the deep end mural of the stage, and she's responsible for that. She's done a few smaller items for us already, a backdrop for our Midsummer's Eve photo booth, and she handled that for us. She's demonstrated being able to work with different mediums as well, and she's really got the experience there. And then Jenna Lynn Hart is the artist for the mural. And then she also has experience with large scale murals. This is her first outdoor mural, but we're, pretty confident in her ability there. And have done research both with her and on her own about what needs to be implemented before she's
Will she do the timeline as well?
No, we'll take care of the timeline through FrostburgFirst. That's just a matter of getting the stencils laser cut. So we can actually order those online or potentially get them done over at FSU depending on pricing. And then that will just be once we sort of narrow down it. Maybe talk to Brian specifically about this kind of thing for Sidewalk, but once we get that narrowed down, that's just something we'll go out and put down. We will wait until the wall is finished before we do that in case there's any cleanup or anything.
Wondering, since I don't know anything about painting sidewalks, our colleague here has lots of experience painting houses, maybe he knows. Is there a clear layer that might help preserve the stencil work that you do?
There's definitely, so there's cement primer that we can put down, and then there's like anti-graffiti coats that can be used, and, that would actually work pretty well for a short, it won't last forever, but that's something that we're
Something about
refreshing.
the sealer. We have so much, during the wintertime especially, so much debris.
Yeah. And my assumption there too is, we'll keep the stencils and have enough paint on hand to refresh this. My assumption is that we would go out and probably do a refresh on this, if not every year, then every other year.
Beautification. And so remember when we did the light decals, for the traveler? We had those decals made, put them on the road, and they held up pretty well, and they get car traffic, so I think that it's gonna be a little different wear and tear for a sidewalk. So, I think it's gonna hold up much better than the light decals in the school. Even if it's
Yeah, and that's definitely something we'll learn from, if we see after the first year as well, it really fades fast, then, there'll still be some material, budget left there that we can play with and see if there's a better solution with them.
What's the timeline for completion?
My hope is to have, both murals done by my fall artist walk on October 1st. Obviously, it's very weather dependent. But, that is the goal.
I would think that the state highway people would be able to give you the right direction on what type of paint to use, because they
Yeah,
do it on the road all the time.
That's true.
And they still haven't done the pedestrian walkway from LG.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's a safety hazard to ride it.
All right, do we have any further questions about the public art projects? Did we get any public comment?
No, we solicited public comment as we always do, and we haven't received anything. Thank you.
Are we ready to make a motion?
I'd be happy to offer a motion. Have studied the application and all relevant materials and presentation related to this case, and I'm familiar with the property in question. I find that the proposed changes are compatible with the neighborhood because there is general compatibility of exterior design, scale, proportion, arrangement, texture, and materials to be used. Because of these findings, I move to approve the proposal. Because the use of exterior materials are closely similar in appearance to original materials or significant buildings in the district pursuant to Section 4.1.J.1.C.
Well, second.
Any additional discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion approved. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to
Also, as a side note, for running into old business, did everybody see the birds on the, yeah, it turned out really nice. That'll be a nice addition, like the birds are going towards this year.
I had a comment, that box, from what I was told, was a call box along the railroad. So it had a phone line to it. So because if communications went bad or they needed to communicate with somebody. And I believe one of my friends who was railroad knew where that one came from. So I'll ask him.
Yeah, that would be really, because that's
And if I
something
can
we
find
could
out.
maybe put a little plaque on it or something.
Yeah, I was thinking about the history of that as well, and since we know probably the history, we ought to have a placard.
Yeah, that would be very simple to add in there. That'd be no problem.
All right, then we are moving on to old business, 14 West Main Street, wall repair updates.
Yes, that project has pretty much been finished up. As you can see in your packets, there's photos of the end result. And then you'll see it's page 10 in your packet, the letter from Specs Engineering, that's who spearheaded these structural repairs. They did note that while a large portion of the masonry on the rear facade has been repointed, they recommended finishing up and completing the full wall, just for structural integrity. So then the next few pages are just, the after. Now that I think of it, I wish I would have put the befores in there, just for a side-by-side comparison. But we just wanted to give you that update that those repairs are complete from a structural standpoint.
Any questions for Bethany on that? All right, new business, staff approval, FrostburgFirst signage, 37 East Main Street.
Yes, so per our rubric that we developed, commercial signage is eligible for an administrative approval. So, pages 14 and 15 in your packet show the FrostburgFirst signage that will be applied. Deirdre, correct me if I'm wrong, letter A is the design that was chosen. And that will be a decal style on that wooden framework or,
Freeze.
yes. So that is, what will be put there, and then there will be a projecting sign installed. The mock-up shows it on the stone. That is not where it will be located. It'll be drilled into that wooden piece up above.
Excuse me, I didn't hear.
Pardon?
It will be built, right?
It'll be drilled into that wooden piece,
Okay.
not into the stone.
Gotcha.
It won't be here.
Will be-
There. Is that for height reasons or?
I would think that-
It's more to protect the integrity of the facade.
We do know that's not historic still.
Well,
Okay,
It's not historic stone.
it is not.
well, we'll protect it. Could be historic someday.
And the signage looks,
Maybe someday.
the signage looks terrific. When can we expect it up?
They are, now that I have the approval, they're ready to go, so probably in the next little week.
All right, and then we also have 45 Ormond Street update.
Yes, so we wanted to share with you, if you give me just a moment here, I'd like to pull up, our historic district map. 45 Ormond Street is located in the historic district. I'm not sure why this map is working. It's just inside the historic district boundary. The city acquired that property at tax sale recently. And since then, we have learned that we own the structure, but not the land that it sits on. So, right now, we are working through some legal negotiations. We actually own, in just another moment, I'll show you on the map, there's a small parcel directly behind it, and we own that parcel. So, we are just working on, working that out from a legal standpoint. Sorry, it's hard to talk and navigate the internet. No. It's going to be easier to find this GIS. I'm sorry.
Get there through the meetings tab and then find historic district commission, because I saw that tab on this site. Whoops. On that tab, it said historic district map.
Okay. Thanks for bearing with me here. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So our historic district, the boundary line is right here. This is 45 Ormond Street, and as you can see, it sits on this parcel. We thought that it was a map error, but we own the structure and we own this lot. So that's where we're at right now. And we just wanted to notify you that the city has taken possession of that property just because it is in the historic district.
So it's
So
30
two different people, one owned the structure and one owned the land?
And it just got caught.
So 30, there's 33, what is that?
So the title,
That would be South Water Street.
Yes, Water Street.
Yes.
So 33 Water Street, do they own?
They own the land that
Yeah.
the house
Structure
sits
is
on. Yes. So, like I said, we're currently in some legal negotiations. We'll have more updates for you at a later date, but that's where we're at right now.
so that wouldn't come on the title.
Apparently not.
That was, I used to live at 51 Ormond Street.
Okay.
So that was always an odd situation there.
It would feel odd to live and own a house which you didn't own, the land on which you sat. So that 10, there's a community center going to the right of it.
29, yeah, 27,
You own the land,
27.
you own the mineral rights.
Yeah.
That's your property.
That happens a lot in like large cities too, where people own the building and not the land it sits on.
It's probably a spite house. Someone just built it on someone and said this was spite.
Yeah, it's small, it's not big at all.
It's been there how long?
Oh, see, I don't even have access to
The eminent
the
domain,
build date.
we should be able to just explain.
We'll see how it all works out.
I know how it worked out with my aunt's house. They thought all the boundaries went perpendicular to the street and they all went at an angle. And so her living room was in the next door
Oh, my goodness.
property. So when we were trying to sell the house,
How horrible was that?
it wasn't bad.
Oh, that's
The
good.
person who owned the house next door, he had the same predicament. And they went up 3 houses and everybody agreed to quit claim each of the lots. I just shook my head.
Wow.
My aunt probably rolled over in her grave.
Right?
No one bothered to look at the plots.
So what are there plans for the building? Like once the whole land situation is settled or?
I think we're focusing on getting the land situation figured out for right now, and that's where things are.
After so many years.
We'll have more updates for you once things progress a little bit. This is all very preliminary. We just took possession, last month, I believe. So this is all pretty new.
Who brought that to your attention?
Elizabeth has been working on this as city administrator, so I've just kind of gotten the trickle down information, since it's active legal negotiations.
So did you own the lot, the piece behind 45 first and then you bought 45 or?
No, it was obtained at tax sale,
I
so yeah, that's how the city came to own it.
Is there anything else commissioners want to bring up for discussion?
I like that one question. Here, the property on Frost that's for sale. I know they were trying to subdivide that property, Frost mentioned. Was that subdivided, or do you know?
That was approved by the planning commission last month, so I can show you, let me just move.
Because I kept forgetting that we should probably discuss that here, because that's why we changed the streetscape.
Well,
They got approval to subdivide
yes,
through the planning and zoning?
yes. Give me just a moment and I'll pull up, those moving materials so I can show you on the plat.
This is the proximate address. If they're going to.
Okay, so this is kind of small here, but, so here is the parcel that the Frost Mansion sits on. It previously went and followed all the way to Chestnut, all along College Avenue, Locust Street, and then Frost Avenue on this
It's
side.
going to impact a lot of streets.
Yeah, so, this large parcel that the existing structure is on, remains pretty intact. The two corners, the corner of Chestnut and College Avenue, this is, for proposed single-family development. And then, the other corner at Locust Street and College Avenue is also proposed for single-family. And then a very small parcel was created right here that would front on Chestnut Street. It's being absorbed by the owners of this lot to provide egress.
Yeah.
Excuse me, parking and, so that they could get a garage on their lot, if they want to in the future. So any new construction will, come before the commission here. So basically, 2 building lots were created from that larger parcel.
What's that?
Let's see. The one right here is about 0.21 acres. And then the one on the corner of Chester, Locust and College is about 0.24 acres. So just a little under quarter acre piece.
And the acre building itself,
That will remain
That's a lot.
as a lot.
just has a lot, but there's
It's
nothing
for
really.
sale.
Yeah,
And
it's for
still
Yeah,
sale.
sale.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
not 100% sure what the plans for it are at this time.
So they're not removing any of the driveways, they can access front, back.
Well, they'll still
all
have
4 exits that they have.
yes, you can see, the northwestern exit is still here, right inside that boundary line. And then, you can see the exit on the Locust, and then you'll still have the 2 from College Avenue that fall within, that parcel.
So what are the 2 pieces that say proposed drive? One off of Chestnut and the other one off of Lucas?
That would be a proposed location of a driveway.
See, the second house down from Chestnut on Frost, the Georges live in the corner of Chestnut and Frost, and then what used to be Bill Jenkins' house, now it's a relative of Jenkins who owned the house, I think, or just a coal company still owned it. But it has no way of getting a vehicle onto their lot. They only have parking on Frost Avenue. There is no way to get in, and they are on the Frost Mansion property on one side. So like,
Well, it looks like it connects to the new lot, the proposed drive, looks like it connects to the new lot.
Yeah, there's about a 16-foot little line that connects this little tiny 0.05 acre parcel to this one. So it kind of creates a strange shaped lot, but that would allow them to create backyard parking, so they don't have to park on the street.
But that's that lot above where it says proposed drive.
Yes, correct. This right here along the edge of the proposed drive, this is a separate parcel.
Right, so that's what the Jenkins are going to use for a driveway, garage.
to access,
To
to get to
access.
their property. They
Right.
can get to the back of their property if they bring that driveway behind George's property off of Chestnut Street.
But the proposed drive would also be new and connect to the new house on the new created
Possibly.
lot. Because that's,
I don't know if that's a
That's-
right of way for both, or depends on how they deed. it.
right, I don't know, but it's connected to the house that would be on that lot. So,
How did, this is on the city website?
This is on our public meeting portal, under Planning Commission.
Okay.
Yes.
Guess I'll know what I'll be doing.
Yeah, and if you would like the specific date, this took place on June 8th, 2 months ago today.
Yeah, I just think it's odd that, especially for Frost Avenue, that historic commission was. I mean, I found out after the fact, so.
I can't believe it's not all over the avenue. Everybody knows.
Right,
Yeah, it's a big deal. And as far as I know, there's no prospects yet for selling the building.
I haven't heard anything.
It's huge.
If I wanted to buy a mansion, I'd run
It's
it.
so pretty.
Yeah. I think they thought at first it would just go quick and it didn't, and now they're looking for other ways. Of course, I don't know what a lot on College Avenue and Chestnut or College Avenue and what is that? Locust Street down, would, sell them. Be interesting. So that's approved, so they can go ahead and have it subdivided, surveyed, and the whole nine yards. Okay.
Anyone else have anything for discussion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right. I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, we're adjourned.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm just gonna end the live stream.
Well, there it is.
Yeah, maybe a way.
Wait, so.
They come up and harass and they just say,